Hello everybody, Joe81X. Well, it was time to install another TV in the Chatalian home. This is my baby's room. Not so much so she could take the remote and watch CNN, just so we could stream all the kids' stuff while she's in the room playing, or instead of giving them a tablet or a device, I guess this would be considered a really big device, but at least if you could stream Sesame Street or Disney or anything while she's playing or sitting or maybe in the crib while my wife's getting ready or am I getting ready, it's a focal point in this day and age because while I was growing up, I was sitting on an Indian style 6 inches from a CRT and I didn't care what was around me. So in this episode, we're going to install this TV with, oh, sorry, we'll get to him later, with this bracket. Now, this bracket is from PC Richards. Here it is. This way, everyone knows what I'm using. And this TV really doesn't matter. Oh, how you doing? This TV doesn't matter where it's from, but it came from Target. It's a Samsung 37-inch. JK18's here.
That's about the size of where you put your TV. That's about the size of that.
So this TV is pretty light. You could see that I could kind of hold it. I don't want to drop it. So that's great. The back is going to be, here's the bracket. The front comes off. We'll get to that. It sits on these two screws, these two holes. This obviously lets you level it. This comes off with a screw here. It sits on the wall with two screws like that, and you have the tilt ability however you want. We'll show that later. So it gives you a couple of things. First of all, right off the bat, we got lucky. It's actually going to sit on all four screws. So what you're not supposed to use is your drill. Why? Maybe taking it out is not so bad.
Taking it out is fine.
But they don't want you to wrench it and then push down on all the Chinametronics. Plug it in. Figure out what room it's going to be in. Put it on the floor, on the wall, whatever. Plug it in. Get it working. Don't put it on the wall, get all Italian, plug in your PlayStation, and then it's like, error, do not return to the store. Error, call 1-800 Samsung. So I plugged it in. It's been plugged in for 3 days. I established a Wi-Fi connection because I do not have Ethernet here yet. And now it's working. The next step is to purchase a bracket of your liking. Right. And is to install it. Now these screws should be fine because it's so light. But what they do give you is actually thicker screws with like a Loctite. Right here, different TVs have different boxes and squares and components, and they give you different things. So this would be too thick, this would be too long. These are probably correct, but you also don't want to bottom out the TV. And these are for the little wing things that we do not need. So perfect. The screws, it's a 50-50 shot when you purchase the TV that the bracket actually sits the way it is and everything like that. So we're mounting the bracket and we'll be right back.
A rare, never be seen moment. Never been seen moment on the XJoe81X channel.
A hand tool. The only problem with this bracket I do want to touch upon is that 32 and under do seem to be small, so you are limited where you want it. If you have to put this on a beam, then you have to know that your TV is not going to be center. Some people, I don't want to give them false hope where it's like, oh, why didn't you go on a beam? Well, I'll show you why I didn't go on a beam. Because let's just say there's me and my family, we'll pick a generic eyeball. We want it here. And with the tilt, it's going to look like that. Well, if you don't want it on a beam, if you want it on a beam, let's just say the beam's here. You have to know that the TV is going to be here or here. So what I'm going to choose is to put it dead center. the best I can. And if it's not on the beam, use the anchors provided, which you will see in a little bit. But it will tilt, and it probably will look like that when finished. Figured out roughly what we want to do as far as height, low, and this is roughly center, and we'll bring it to about here. And what I'll do is I'll take a pencil, and everything is rough. It doesn't matter. Yeah, there's going to be no beam here. So we'll just take this roughly. We'll put it here. I'll put a circle here because see this bottom piece? This allows you to go left and right. So different walls and different places, you know, you're going to want to get a level. We'll show that another time in the future. So we want to kind of roughly be in the center. And then I kind of want to roughly eyeball it. And I want to make a circle on the top. Something like that. So what I'm going to do is take a small bit, shoot it in here, and shoot it in here, and establish that there is actually nothing behind it and or a beam. And then we'll double check on how big to go as far as the anchors. Okay, so we got a little pilot bit. We got a nice little drill. And we just want to get in there to double check that there's nothing in there. I think this this room was double sheetrocked. Yep. So there's nothing behind here, and it was double sheetrock, but that doesn't allow you to just put 2 screws and hang a TV. Next, we're going to find out the size of the anchors, beef up the drill bit, and we're going to send in the factory screws. Okay, so we got a Mason drill bit. It's the wrong bit. I know. Okay, flag. I'm not watching Joe's channel anymore. But since it's drywall, it's a good diameter. I'll show you the anchor in a minute. And it actually just goes right through. Remember, you might not have double drywall, and you also might have wood lath and plaster. That you'd have to get the right bit for, because this would just push the wood lath in, and then wood lath would come out wherever the beam is. Right. All right. So here's what they give you. They give you a little anti-removal, but with enough force, anything comes out. But what that's going to do is the screw's going to go in there, and that's going to open a little bit. And these are going to push against the back of the drywall. And what it's supposed to do is prevent the TV from falling out. So again, secondary, unconventional tool. You should use a hammer. But we're going to place this right in, right like that. It doesn't matter how it's oriented. We're going to push it in as far as we can. See, there we go. It actually worked. So I might have gone a little bit too big, but probably not, because you don't want the lip to go. There we go. You don't want the lip to go in the wall, because then that defeats its own purpose. So now that everything is in, it's time to just start the screw. It's a 10mm. You start with the top. Screw it in by hand a little bit, just enough. You don't have to wrench it down, just enough where it hangs. Now you're going to come into a little bit of a problem with the bottom. So what you can do is loosen the bracket. Again, this is this bracket. And you could lift this up and tighten it, and now it exposes the bottom. Sometimes, no offense, people get a little nuts and they do not know how to do things. So we're going to drive this slowly. You want to get to just the end. Blooper number 2. We want to just get to the point where it still moves. I'm actually going to pause the video here. I'm going to get a washer or double check to see if they gave me one. I don't like the bottom bracket. There's not enough meat here. So please hold. So we got this thing. This is a washer. It fits right here. We'll install that, and then we'll take the top one out. We'll just we'll just start it a little bit. That's it. And we'll unscrew the tilting mechanism. We'll unscrew the top. We'll just place that. No orientation is right or wrong. They both end up flattening out. We'll start again. Now we get a teeny bit snug. Just a little bit. What I'll do is I'll keep this loose. Oh, it's already loose. Tighten it and then back it off so I don't lose it. And then now what you want to do is take a level. Put it right on the top. Bubble seems to be perfect. And we'll just slowly... See, it moved a little bit. So we'll correct it. Like that, and we'll hold it. We'll tighten the bottom. It's been out a couple of half inch. Okay, now everything fell off the drill. What's going to happen is, Murphy's Law, because this thing slides, as soon as you tighten it, it's always going to want to go to the path of least resistance. So if you could try your best to try to tighten the bottom one first. And if you have to technically, which I don't have, but if you have to convert to a hand tool, that probably would have been the better.
No kidding.
See, that already ratcheted down. It's not that tight, but I just want to get it to where... Nope. I spun it. I am unhappy with this performance.